Oh, I love that animation. That means it's the best football show. And it's Monday, December 16th. And we are getting close to getting week 15 into the books. And I'm in Los Angeles here today at the NFL Network, right across the street from SoFi Stadium, where I saw the Buccaneers take apart the Chargers. Now, before we get to that game, because there was a lot to talk about, I want you to know that you can find all of my breakdowns, Baldy's breakdowns, throughout the internet at Baldy NFL on every platform. And you can download this podcast for free on a daily basis, wherever you get your podcasts. The Audacy.com, just go download it, and you can watch this on a daily basis. Let's get to the Bucs game. They won their fourth in a row. And I said last week that I have not seen a team improve in one area of their team more than the Bucs have in the run game. For 2 straight years, 2022, 2023, they were dead last in the NFL in running the football. Any category. Rushing yards per game, rush average, they were last, and they were awful. They are now in the top 5, and they ran for 223 yards against the Chargers. And it was amazing to watch because they don't get away from it. And it was a close game all the way through the third quarter. But at some point in that third quarter, the Bucs simply wore the Chargers down. 39 runs. Like Bucky Irving had a bad back. He had a bad leg. He was stretching in between series. He went 15 times for 117 yards, including the longest run from scrimmage, a 56-yarder that set up a touchdown. And it was a perfectly executed play. It's Jason Licht's the general manager, but they had a commitment to it. I think it started with bringing in Liam Cohen as the offense coordinator. I think he's very creative, and he's very good, and he stays with the run. And they pounded the Chargers, who were the number one defense in football, coming in. And the Bucs scored on 6 straight possessions. That means they scored in the final possession of the first half, and then they scored on every possession in the second half. And then Baker was the benefactor. Baker only had to drop back 27 times. He had 5 incompletions, 4 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Mike Evans. And really, coming into the game, the Chargers had only given up 15 touchdown passes in 13 games. They'd given up the fewest points in the league. Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart, Christian Fulton, they'd played great on the edges. Then seeing Jalen McMillan and Mike Evans catching those touchdown passes. They gave up 4 yesterday. They haven't done that all year. It's really – and so, you look at the Bucs and, that's the 4th in a row. And, some of the games they've beaten Carolina, the Raiders, the Giants, no big deal. They came to Los Angeles, and they made a statement to the league. They're like, we'll see what happens with Atlanta tonight, Monday night. But to me, the Bucs are telling everybody, we're going to win this division for the 4th year in a row. And we're going to go to the playoffs for 5 years in a row. Remember, the year that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl, they didn't win that division. But they're looking to own the division, the NFC South right now. It was a great effort, a really great effort. And, if you're a Charger fan, this is the 3rd straight game now where they've scored 17 points. They might get to the playoffs. They play Denver right here at SoFi Stadium next week. But they're not going to beat Denver or many other teams by scoring 17 points. So the thing that's missing is they cannot get explosive plays. I know that Justin Herbert threw his first interception, to Jamel Dean. First one in 360 or 70 attempts. It was ridiculous. Ever since week 2, it was his first interception. But they couldn't get the ball down the field. And so credit to really the pressure schemes of Todd Bowles, the play of Levante David. The 2 corners, Zion McCollum and Jamel Dean, played great. But it's a real concern if you're a Charger fan. All right, let's go to Kansas City. Yeah, with the best record in the NFL right now, gets to 13-1. And they've started 3 different offensive tackles until yesterday. They started a rookie. They started 3 different guys. They picked up DJ Humphries. They started him last week, and he got hurt, and he's out. And so they decided to change 2 positions to fix 1. They took their starting left guard, Joe Thuney, who's just a model of consistency and has been with the Patriots and since he's gotten to Kansas City. And they put him to left tackle. And so they put Mike Caliendo in at left guard. They've changed two positions to fix one. And I got to tell you, Joe Thuney was awesome. First of all, you're on the road in Cleveland, and you're going up against the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett can ruin games. Okay, Myles Garrett, he got a couple quarterback hits. He hit Patrick Mahomes a few times. But Joe Thuney didn't have a penalty. In fact, they only had 2 offensive penalties the whole day. Didn't have an offensive penalty, didn't give up a sack. He looked like a great guard playing tackle. He's undersized, but he's very smart. He stayed inside out on Myles Garrett, never let him come inside on him. Made him go the long way around. And Myles got some pressure. Like, okay, he's Myles Garrett. He's a freight train. But it was, they scored the 3 first half touchdowns. They did a lot of creative things. Andy Reid was great. They, first touchdown to Juju Smith-Schuster. It's a bootleg away from Myles Garrett. All right. It's a lot of play action. They got Xavier Worthy coming in motion. Mahomes turns his back to the defense. Defense doesn't know if Worthy has the ball. Mahomes has the ball. While all that is going on, Juju Smith-Schuster comes on a drag, gets out in the flat. Mahomes gives him a little flip, little State Fair egg toss, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown. They had a great game plan, and they really helped Joe Thuney. But Thuney was strong, really good. Let's go to Jacksonville, Florida, where the Jets break this, was it a 5-game losing streak? They hadn't won a game since Halloween, all right, when they beat the Houston Texans. And in that game, Aaron Rodgers was awesome in the fourth quarter. Since then, the Jets have had a chance to win every single game, including last week against Miami, including the week before against Seattle. I could go on and on and on. They found ways to lose games. They couldn't finish games where they had the lead, games where they couldn't come down and put a drive together to win a game. And so they're where they're at. But yesterday, struggling against Jacksonville on the road, Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams looked like they were in Green Bay in their prime. Davante Adams catches 9 passes in the second half for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it started on the very first play of the third quarter. You kind of almost can feel, I think they're down 13-7 at halftime to Jacksonville. And you can kind of almost imagine that Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are like, hell with everything. I'm coming to you, brother. We've done this before. We're too good not to win this game against this team on the road regardless. I'm going to feed you. Every big play, including a 71-yard touchdown where they attacked Tampa 2 and Devin Lloyd down the middle of the field for 71 yards. Every third down, when they got the lead, or to get the lead, they hit Davante on a smoke route for a 1-yard touchdown to give the Jets the lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, you look at it and you go, it's a smoke. Like, the play is designed to go to Braylon Allen right up the middle. And Aaron's like looking at Davante out there one-on-one with Montaric Brown, and he dropped the ball perfectly. I mean, where Aaron Rodgers has not been able to make every throw, week in, week out, he's just missed throws. He didn't miss them, Davante. I mean, they were 9 for 10 for 198 and 2 touchdowns in the second half, including once the score got to 25-25, in the final minute and a half, they converted a 3rd and 10 and a 3rd and 5 to Davante Adams. One was, I'll give you the signal that Aaron gave to Davante. Whatever that means, Davante ran a outside release fade. Aaron put it right in his back shoulder. And then they ran a crosser in the middle of the field. Davante in the slot gets a pick with Jeremy Ruckert in the middle of the field. And Aaron showed more mobility than he had shown all year. 4 runs, 40 yards, led the team in rushing. And he sees Davante out of the corner of his eye and gets it to him. He takes it down to the 1-yard line. The Jets finish the game and win the game, something they have not been able to do in this losing streak. It was something to see. And then the game of the week was really, well, I'll get to 2 games here real quick because the other 2 games going off simultaneous was Buffalo going to Detroit. And Josh Allen put on another MVP performance. You think about this. The Buffalo Bills have scored 90 points on the road in the last 2 games. In Los Angeles, they put up 42. And in Detroit, they put up 48. Now, I know Detroit's decimated on defense. I get that. But Buffalo, man, did they attack the weaknesses of the Detroit defense. Think about this. The Lions picked up Quan Alexander to play linebacker. They lost all their linebackers. Anzalone, the whole group. Sanborn. So what they do is they got Ty Johnson isolated on Quan Alexander. I mean, Josh Allen did everything he had to do. Extended plays, ran for touchdowns. You think about this 90-point outburst on the road in the last 2 games. And Josh Allen has run for 5 touchdowns and thrown for 5 touchdowns. He's a one-man band. Like, this MVP conversation is over. Like, he's clearly the MVP. He's the best player on any category. You take him out of Buffalo, I don't know what the record is. I really don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're still winning I don't know if they even win the AFC East without him. But he's just been that dominant in getting better. So he was phenomenal. And he got the ball to everybody. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, Ty Johnson, Keon Coleman. He got it to Khalil Shakir. He got the ball to everybody in the offense. And the offense line up front played great. So they knocked a team off that had won, 10 in a row, 11 in a row. Congratulations. And then Philadelphia, let's just finish there. They take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have now beaten the Steelers 11 straight times in Philadelphia. And the Steelers have not beaten Philadelphia there since 1965. Everybody knows that stat now. But when you watch it, I mean, the whole controversy all week was, is Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, can they get this thing going? Well, I mean, they fed AJ Brown the first quarter, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. I mean, it's really not that hard. AJ Brown is he's a top 5 receiver in this league. The guy's a great route runner. He's excellent after the catch. And they just fed AJ Brown. And the passing game really picked up. But they're still a run-first team. And so they got the runs going. But, they got the ball to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. And really the question was, it wasn't a question of, well, let's just feed Saquon. Saquon's the MVP. No, it was really a question of, you got to make an effort to throw it. And I think if they want to win the Super Bowl, and they've just won 10 in a row for the first time in the Eagles' existence. And I played for the Eagles for a couple of years. The last 3 years of my career, I was there in Philadelphia. So, I mean, I know that organization very well. I live in the throes of, Lincoln Financial Field. I live 15 miles away from it. I know that organization. Nobody has ever seen this from an Eagles team. With Reggie White going back to Chuck Bednarik, Tommy McDonald. No Eagles team has won 10 in a row. But you watch Jalen Hurts yesterday, he played great. And the receivers, they beat Joey Porter. They beat Dante Jackson. They beat their best corners. Pittsburgh wanted to blitz. They got TJ Watt out there. They've got Alex Highsmith. They got Nick Herbig. All these guys that, have really, taken the ball away more than any other team in the league. They came in with 28 takeaways. All right. TJ got the ball punched out of Jalen Hurts' hand. All right. Outside of that, they didn't get anything. And then the Eagles' defense made the Steelers' offense really look pedestrian. I mean, they're not a great offense to begin with, especially without George Pickens, their best receiver. They just don't have an explosive offense. And the Eagles' defense, I mean, they're the best defense in football right now. And they just won the line of scrimmage. They shut the run game down. They couldn't get any explosive plays. They got the 1 touchdown in Freiermuth. I mean, they just dominated the action, really dominated. I mean, Najee, he wasn't going anywhere. Jalen Warren, Russell, they tried Cordero Patterson. They tried different types of runs. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams. Nobody's probably developed more this year on that Eagles defense than Nolan Smith. Like, he's really coming on. So congratulations to the Eagles. They play Washington next weekend. They can really they can show home field advantage with another win pretty soon here. And that's what they want. They want home field advantage, the NFC. We'll see what Minnesota does tonight. But anyways, that's what I've watched this week. A dominant Eagles team, a dominant Buffalo offense, Joe Tooney at left tackle, a dominant performance by the Bucs to get to fourth in a row, and Josh Allen is the league MVP. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I will get back to the East Coast and NFL Films tomorrow. I'll stay out here in L.A. until I take a red eye back. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I think I'm going to be joined tomorrow by Mark Schlereth. We've got a live session tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun talking to Stink about what he is seeing, what game he did this weekend, and what he sees from around the league. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Best Football Show. Talk to you tomorrow.